First tonight on Our News Weekend, the future of labor laws. A big week for the future of labor. Public and private sector stakeholders begin talks tomorrow on legislative reform amidst ongoing labor tensions. The labor minister shares the government's position ahead of the talks. Plus, the investment opportunity many have been waiting for. Royal Caribbean officials offering new details for Bahamians looking to invest in the upcoming Royal Beach Club. And later, our Danielle Miller takes us along on a journey to discover hidden gem Yellow Bell and an experience she calls a certified vibe. All that and more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Marlena Leonard, in for Megan Shepard. Over 100 stakeholders from the public and private sectors will attend a 3-day legislative reform symposium starting tomorrow. The event will recommend changes to labor laws, including the Employment Act and Industrial Relations Act. The symposium stems from a 2022 MOU between unions and the now government, which has faced criticism from the Bahamas National Alliance Trade Union Congress President Belinda Wilson, accusing the Trade Congress Union Friday of betraying members by signing it. Minister of Labor and the Public Service Pia Glover-Roll has responded, asserting her commitment to the Blueprint for Change and the MOU.
That is another item, in fact, multiple items that comes out of the Memorandum of Understanding, which requests the government of this administration to address legislative concerns, policy concerns that are affecting labor laws in our country.
Public and private sector stakeholders will also discuss general orders, public service regulations, and the National Tripartite Council Act.
They will give the recommendations, and out of this symposium should come a white paper to me. I will take those recommendations, working along with the Office of the Attorney General, to craft the legislation. And when I take those reformed legislative policies to Parliament, I will be speaking on behalf of those stakeholders who will be in the room next week.
Substantial and promising is how Education Minister Glenys Hanna-Martin is describing her ministry's ongoing efforts to combat student learning losses spurred by the COVID-19 pandemic. The issue has been a top priority for the Davis administration, which Hanna-Martin says has led to significant strides being made post-pandemic.
We've been in a lot of discussions. We've looked at the high school diploma. We reformed that in record time. That was done properly through consultation nationally by a commission that was headed by educators, the unions, and private sector stakeholders. They made the recommendations, and the ministry accepted those recommendations. So the high school diploma is now more broad-based in how it assesses students. A lot of reform has to still happen. We have a long way to go in this country with education, but I think that some positive steps have been made.
While acknowledging that there's still progress to be made, Hanna-Martin says her ministry has seen more positive results in primary schools.
The first thing we did was universal testing. We were able to learn very quickly the state of affairs with all of our students nationwide, where they were, where they should have been. And as a result of that, some interventions took place. In grades 1 to 3 in primary school, for the first term, we did nothing but literacy and numeracy, literacy and numeracy. We then looked at the testing thereafter and found that it was impactful, it had an impact.
And still on education, starting in the spring of 2025, the University of the Bahamas Northern Campus will have their own American Corner, adding to the 2 American Corners already in existence. Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs at the University of the Bahamas, Dr. Maria Woodside Oriaki, calls the corner a great addition for the Grand Bahama campus.
American Corner in New Providence, further enhancing our shared commitment to fostering mutual understanding and enriching the educational and cultural landscape of the Bahamas. These spaces are more than just physical locations. They are hubs of cultural exchange, education, and community engagement.
On her first official trip outside of New Providence, new Chargé d'Affaires Kimberly Furnish explains how the U.S. Embassy's $50,000 investment will create a powerful learning space in Grand Bahama's American Corner.
The U.S. Embassy is partnering with the University of the Bahamas and providing $50,000 to create this unique space in Grand Bahama, focusing on education, STEM, culture, entrepreneurship, and innovation. Like our spaces in Nassau, visitors of all ages can look forward to using this space to explore, share ideas, access information, develop practical professional skills, and participate in programs honing their critical thinking.
Well, work has begun on the 17-acre Royal Beach Club on the western end of Paradise Island, adding to the Royal Beach Club Paradise Island's perfect day at Coco Cay, and to the all-Bahamian crews on board their newest vessel, Utopia of the Seas. President of the Royal Beach Club Paradise Island and General Manager of Royal Caribbean International Bahamas, Philip Simon, is optimistic for local investors. He says for those interested in investing, be on the lookout for Royal Caribbean's public offering later this year.
There's a valuation on the books. We are working through to get to that raise process. We would have executed the heads of agreement, as you know, in April of this year. There are still some I's that we are dotting and T's that we're crossing relative to getting to the IPO process. We've identified the company, the fund manager that will do that raise for us. And so, again, Q3 of this year is the estimated timeline for that.
Now, according to their website, Bahamians can own up to 49% equity in the project, while local business people will have the opportunity to manage the majority of the project, generating hundreds of jobs across its construction and long-term operation. Royal Caribbean stock is listed on the New York Stock Exchange and recently increased by 94 cents to $169.23. Still to come on Our News Weekend, we're only 4 days away from the start of crawfish season. Are you ready? We've got more on what you need to know before the season reopens. And Seafest returns. Organizers tell all about the highly anticipated 18th annual Seafest Festival taking place in East Grand Bahama this August Monday. That's coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Good news on the horizon for fishermen. By this time next weekend, crawfish season will be well underway. The season opens in just a few days, August 1st to be exact. The season is closed from the 1st of April to July 31st. And if you plan to go crawfish harvesting this season, there are some regulations and guidelines you need to remember, courtesy of Assistant Fisheries Officer in the Department of Marine Resources, Irvana Moss.
A harvestable tail has a 5.5-inch length. Also wanted to remind the general public that they should always have a crawfish gauge if you are engaged in the crawfish fishery. Having tails that may have eggs or removing the eggs is also prohibited by law. So if you are caught with or suspected of course, that will be investigated.
Fisheries Officer Alexandria Sinclair warned that all fishermen must also have the relevant permit.
I would like to remind fishers to obtain the relevant permits, which are the compressor and trapping permits for the season, and to remind you that crawfish is the leading fisheries in the Bahamas, and we would encourage fishers to fish sustainably and safely.
The highly anticipated 18th annual Seafest Festival takes place in High Rock, East Grand Bahama on August 5th. Chief Counselor of East Grand Bahama, Marcus Cooper, tells us not only what we can expect, but why the event is so important to the community.
It's a family-friendly event, and there's lots of entertainment, there's lots of activities for the entire family. One of the highlights of the festival is that the proceeds from these festivals typically go towards programs, projects in the various communities and helping to bring back our communities, particularly after Hurricane Dorian. So again, we invite persons to come and be a part of the redevelopment of our communities.
Carnival is a major sponsor of the event, with Carnival's Celebration Key Operations Manager Dominique Pinder saying connecting to the community is part of the company's focus.
With our $600 million investment in our new cruise port, Celebration Key, what is equally important to us as a business is to ensure that we build meaningful, impactful, long-lasting relationships with our community. And what better way to do that than to sponsor the High Rock Seafest event that sits in our backyard near our destination. So we're calling for all of Grand Bahama, from near and far. Come with Team Carnival and the rest of Grand Bahama. Don't meet us there, but beat us there as we celebrate this wonderful initiative.
Well, the Ministry of Tourism, Investments and Aviation's People-to-People program is proving to be a game changer in tourism experiences. On Tuesday, officials were at the Nassau Cruise Port to welcome a returning family of 4 from Virginia. Ambassador Laverne Wildgoose says People-to-People is designed to foster authentic interactions between visitors and Bahamians.
I've been in this for almost 30 years, hosting guests coming from all over the world, such as this one this morning. And so I like to be authentic, fully Bahamian food, everything Bahamian, so they can get out of the actual tourist area and come and see what the natives, how we live, how we act, what we do.
Amber Sweeney and her family first visited the Bahamas back in 2023 and thought it fit to celebrate her birthday this year, Bahamian style.
Get to spend the day with Laverne and all of the things that she said. Like, we don't want to just come and do the tourist strip. We don't want to, that's not who you are, right? And we want to experience what life really is like here on this island or in the Bahamas in general, and just what it looks like for local people and what your everyday experience is versus just this part is not as attractive to us. We want to see the more authentic side of the Bahamas.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, meet the young Bahamian ladies coming home with crowns from an international pageant in Florida. They share their experience and their long-term pageant dreams. We have the details when Our News returns.
Jazz Chisholm becomes the newest Bronx Bomber. We get into the details of the trade next on Our Sports Weekend.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price. And you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Good evening and happy Sunday. Welcome to Our Sports Weekend. I'm Tage Adderley. The Bronx is known as the birthplace of hip-hop, of Jennifer Lopez, and of Ralph Lauren. The New York borough gained a new famous resident yesterday when Jazz Chisholm was traded to the New York Yankees. We have the details. Jazz was sent to the Marlins for prospects Agustin Ramirez, Jared Serna, and Abraham Ramirez yesterday. He made his debut with the Marlins in 2020 at second base before moving to the outfield last season. In that span, he hit .246 with a .749 OPS, 66 home runs, 81 stolen bases, and an All-Star nod in 2022. He'll add much-needed speed on the bags for the Bombers, as well as some pop at the plate, something that's been sorely missing lately with the struggles of Alex Verdugo and DJ LeMahieu and the frequent injuries of Giancarlo Stanton. Now, the Yankees are 1 game back in the East behind Baltimore, but they think Jazz could give them the spark to take the division. Whether he'll play the outfield or second base remains to be seen, but what we do know is that his larger-than-life personality will be the perfect fit for the big city. Moving over to the court, the U15 girls national team took to the court last night at the Central Basket Tournament in Panama. We're going to see how they did. Team 242 fell to the Dominican Republic 79-31 last night, and Deacon Curtis led the squad with 14 points and 10 rebounds. She also locked up on defense with 6 steals, but that wasn't enough to stop the Dominican onslaught, however. Chantal Lopez had 19 points, 4 rebounds, and 5 assists to lead the DR. With that loss, the team is 0-4 in the tournament. They played Nicaragua earlier this afternoon for a chance to get their first win. We'll have more on that a little later. Before we go, the Olympics are still going on right now in Paris. Our first action will be with Lamar Taylor in the pool on Tuesday. We'll have more on that later. That's a wrap for sports today. For Our Sports Weekend, I'm Tage Adderley. Have a great week.
Coming up, join us for a trip to Western New Providence with Danielle Miller as she discovers everything Yellow Bell has to offer. Find out why she calls it a certified vibe. That's coming up when Our News returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Welcome back to Our News. As we gear up to say goodbye to our summer students here at RTV, the team took the time out recently to honor their contributions over the past few weeks across our various departments. This summer, the team took on 6 interns: Manlia Stevens, Tito Colley Jr., Philena Stiles, Kirkwood Clark, Rashad Reckley, and Danae Green. Rashad and Danae joined the team courtesy of the Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture's Summer Student Program. Tito, in his second stint with RTV, is an enthusiastic and vibrant part of the team that assists in both production and digital. He spoke about his experiences.
Every time I come here, well, 2 times in a row, I'm always welcome there. I love the experience we're able to receive here. We're able to work in every different part of the station, as long as we ask, or it'll just be assigned to us. If I want to work in digital, they let me work in digital. If I want to do something in production, I'll do something in production. I'll be able to get experience that I wouldn't necessarily be able to get just going to college and just learning, but I'll also get to experience and actually do it. And I think that's what my fellow interns also very much so appreciate.
Executive producer for Our News, Jerome Sawyer, and Director of Sports, Kelsey Johnson-Sills, shared a few words with the interns before they were presented with their certificates of achievement.
Today is really about celebrating our young people. And I believe in earnest that young people are the future of not just our company, our department, but certainly our country. Everyone in this room started out as a summer student on some job, somewhere, doing something.
I would have called them probably June 30th, asking them if they could take on some summer students because we wanted to revamp our program. Jerome, Our News, RTV ran with the idea.
Well, still on the topic of up-and-coming youth, we're getting a glimpse into the future of Bahamian beauty queens tonight as 2 young ladies bring home big titles from a recent international pageant. For one of them, she says her next big goal is Miss Bahamas Universe. I recently got to sit down with the young queens. Let's take a look. A number of young Bahamian ladies made their mark on the international pageant stage recently at the World Imperial Beauties pageant held in Orlando, Florida. 11-year-old St. Anne's student Amina Lockhart came home with the cover model title and says her passion for pageantry started when she watched pageants with her mother at home. However, she admits she was surprised by the realities of competition life.
I was very nervous. I really thought it was easy, but it's really not. It's really hard. But I've had a good time doing the pageant, and it was really fun.
Lockhart's talent of choice? Dance. And she says her passion for dance is something she finds a greater purpose in.
My platform is about dancing and uplifting people's spirits. I bring happiness to people by dancing, and these specific people are elders, special needs, and children around the world. And when I do this, I see their smiles and it just makes me smile, and everyone's happy at that point.
17-year-old Zabrielle Ramming hails from Grand Bahama with roots in Eleuthera. She just started her pageant journey last year, yet she managed to come home with the Teen International crown.
From I was a little girl, I've always dreamed of this. I used to go in my nana's sewing room and get strips of cloth because she sews, and I used to get strips of cloth and take a Sharpie marker and write whatever title I wanted and take a safety pin and act as if I was the title holder, and to see me now here actually holding the title is dream come true. I feel as if people feel as though pageants are just about glitz and glamour and modeling and looking pretty. It's not just about that.
Her platform, supporting teen mental health. She says the social impact pageants can have is often overlooked, and the St. Paul's Methodist College students' focus on health doesn't end there.
I aspire to become a radiologist. I feel as if in the Bahamas there are not much, and I want to train hard and work into my field to become the topmost and to not allow my fellow Bahamian peoples to come outside of their country to seek help, and that they can be safe and feel in a good environment in their hometown.
As for her long-term plans in the pageant world,
after this, my goal is to become Miss Bahamas Universe. So I will try to go on to more pageants to reach that goal.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Marlena Leonard. Well, we've had some gray skies and some heat this weekend, and meteorologist Ian McKenzie is now in the Weather Center for your extended forecast.
Thanks, Marlena, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Sunday evening forecast, where we continue to have those scorching temperatures. Currently outside our studios, we're under mostly fair skies, very warm, 87. Feels like blistering, 93. Winds are from the east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Temperatures across the country, 86 in Freeport as well as Great Harbor Key and in Governor's Harbor, 87 in the capital in Alistown, 85 in Marsh Harbor, 88 in Nicholstown. In the central Bahamas, 87 in Camps Bay, 85 elsewhere, Georgetown, Edmonds Key, Arthurstown, and Coburn Town, San Salvador. The southeast Bahamas continue with those 85s in Matthewtown and Duncantown, 84s in Colonel Hill, Delectable Bay, and in Abrahams Bay, Mayaguana, 86 in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. First look now at our satellite and radar imagery, where we have a stationary frontal boundary with a trailing trough across portions of the northwest Bahamas. The extreme portions of the northwest Bahamas could see one or two pockets of thunderstorm or shower activity. Now we're looking at the tropics, where the National Hurricane Center is monitoring an area of disturbed weather that is expected to interact with that tropical wave to my far right. As it moves towards the west, it should venture into more favorable conditions. However, through most of the week, it will be interacting wind shear as well as that thick Sahara plume of dust across our area. Again, by the weekend, should interact with more favorable conditions near the Greater Antilles with more abundant moisture, low wind shear, and could possibly form a tropical depression by next weekend. Boating forecast across the northwest and central areas. Winds will be east to southeast 10 to 15 knots, seas running 2 to 4 feet, low tide at 9:05 p.m., high tide at 2:51 a.m. tomorrow morning. In the southeast Bahamas, the caution is there. Some gusts at time, winds east to southeast 15, getting up to 20 at times, seas 3 to 5, slightly higher in those swells. In your extended forecast, 1 or 2 showers may pop up tomorrow across our area. Elsewhere, Saharan dust will control the weather. Dry conditions the weekend, some moisture expected to be reintroduced courtesy of that tropical wave. We expected those high temperatures to get up into the mid to low 90s, with your low temperatures around the upper 70s, low 80s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Well, it's the weekend, which means it's time to let the good times roll. Tonight, we're featuring one of Old Pal Hospitality's affiliate companies located at Island House, and Danielle Miller has more.
Tucked away in Western New Providence is a cozy spot for you to not only grab a drink, but also a quick bite, complete with live performances. Whether you're poolside or underneath the chandeliers that perfectly complement the name of the quaint establishment, Yellow Bell is a certified vibe. General Manager Wayne Garzette tells us more.
Well, Yellow Bell was established in the fall 2021, and when you visit Yellow Bell, we have myriads of options for you. We have breakfast, lunch, also in the evenings we have bar bites as well. On the weekends we have brunch, which is pretty nice. Try the chicken and waffles, it's pretty good. Thursdays is the unwinding hour, where we have a Bahamian group come in, each band, Daniel Lee, there's quite a few that play some very beautiful music to entertain our guests, and then along with our cocktails.
Y'all visit Yellow Bell at the Island House. I'm Danielle Miller, reporting for Our News.
Thanks for that, Danielle, and thank you so much for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Marlena Leonard. Have a safe and wonderful evening.